This video intended for educational purposes. Hey guys, it's Adam, aka Swimming Bird, and welcome back for another Minecraft Snapshot. This is 13W2A for Thursday, January 11th. And we've got a lot of updates this week. Once again, this is all stuff towards 1.5, the Redstone update, including a new item that can basically cause a nuclear blast. So I'm going to save that for a little later, and let's just get into some of the new stuff now. Right here, I've got this chest. Oh, it is a trap chest. I thought you were probably expecting an explosion, but no. Trap chests are supposed to actually send their signal through a block so you could hide them against a wall, but it doesn't look like that's functioning yet. We're safe for another week, otherwise this would have blown up. And speaking of trap chests, they are now in the decorative tab if you're keeping track in creative. And also decorative blocks, we got 5 new ones here. So let's go down the line. This is the block of quartz, crafted with 4 of the nether quartz. Look at that, pretty nice. It's a very more natural looking kind of white block, like better than the iron ore, I think, for certain uses. And then we've got, if you stack 2 of these normal quartz blocks, you get the pillar of quartz, the pillar quartz block. There you go, and you can stack these up and make some nice cool pillars. Then over here, if you put 3 of the quartz blocks in a row, you can get the quartz slab. And then if you take 2 of those slabs, you can get the chiseled quartz block, which has a really cool pattern on it. This is very similar to how you would do sandstone. And then last but not least, any of the quartz blocks combined in a stair pattern will get you the quartz stair here. And you can do some cool stuff, like you could set up one of these pillars and actually make it look like one of the, if that would flip the right way, one of the kind of like Roman or Greek pillars. That'll look pretty cool. I can see a lot of those happening in the near future. So one drawback of these decorative blocks is that if you remember the smoothstone slab block that you could use the give command to get, well, it actually has been replaced for now with the quartz block. Who knows if it's coming back, but if here's a shot from my earlier snapshot. I went back and all of them have been replaced with the quartz blocks. So you could actually probably rig this if you want to get some quartz blocks easily, but unfortunately anyone who built using those slabs is going to have it replaced by quartz. So yeah, unfortunately or fortunately, if you want a bunch of quartz without having to mine it. So speaking of textures, now texture packs have gotten a complete revamp. Every block or item has its own file now, and they're stitched together when you start playing the game. You can actually make any of these textures, for the most part, into a GIF, basically, by stringing together images. And I'm going to show you a texture pack. I will flip over real quick. Now get ready for this. This is insane. Wow. Now this is by Sile Fakamode, if I'm saying that right. He actually went through and gave a bunch of the textures just a scrolling pattern. You can see the vines going down and the ladder going up and everything just very trippy as it scrolls. He did this with a ton of blocks, and it's crazy. If you look in creative, you can see the glass cycle through. This is just one use of this, but it could be used for a lot of cool stuff. I could see maybe enemies having different faces and stuff that they cycle through, stuff like that. That would be pretty cool. Now I'm going to go back to the normal one before you guys puke. Okay, that's better. So yeah, if you have any texture packs, they will automatically be converted to this new format. And also, if you're using a texture pack that doesn't have maybe this quartz block or one of the new items in it, it will automatically replace that texture with the default one, so it'll fill in missing holes in your texture pack, so you won't see like missing texture anymore and stuff. So that is pretty cool. Now here is something that is awesome. You can actually use the Anvil to rename chests, trap chest, and mob eggs. Now I'll open this over here and look, it doesn't say chest, it actually says Pandora's box up there. That's what I named this one. And then over here, this is a trap chest. It's a trap. So you can name the chest and it'll actually say on there. If you do pick them though, with the pick block command, middle click by default, it will just be a normal chest. So you'll have to rename it. And you only have to do one of these. The other one could be a default and it would go together. Now I also renamed some of these eggs here for a very specific purpose. Now let me get rid of all these blocks that I got here and I can show you something kind of cool. Now first off, the villagers, if you rename them, and then I want to trade with this guy, oops, I made a baby. If I want to trade with him, he actually has his name, so you can name a bunch of these eggs and make your town actually populated by named villagers. And what's more, if you know how to use an MBT editor, you can make their names hover above their head, much like a player's would. So that is pretty cool. Now, you can also name mobs, as I showed you. I'm going to head over to the water, and then I'm just going to plop down a creeper, and then I'll go back into survival and have him kill me with one blast here. There we go, and look, I was blown up by a green weenie. That's what the creeper was called. So death messages actually have custom messages based on what the mob is called. So you can get all those little messages depending on what you name the mobs. Okay, skeletons have now a 15 block range instead of 10, so this guy can be in shade and still shoot me from pretty far back. So you're going to want to look out for skeletons, because they can take you down. Bam! Mr. Boner got me. But speaking of death messages, there are a ton of new ones. Now, you can get messages for falling off a ladder or vines, falling out of water, falling into fire, into cactuses, like if you've been killed by a player with a specific weapon, all this stuff. And what's more, they can combine, so I'll demonstrate that over here by falling out of the air into this fire. So I take fall damage and then I burn, so I was knocked from a high place and into a patch of fire. The same will work with cactus here if I want to do that. And speaking of which, if you're wondering how I'm keeping my inventory, I can show you that in a second here. But see, I fall. Oh, that I didn't hit the cactus to die. I actually just fell and died. So I didn't get the message. But you get the idea. It'll combine stuff. So if someone's chasing you and hurting you, but then you fall into fire, it will say that you died in fire while being chased by another player. So it kind of gives you these nice custom messages to tell more of a backstory on how you died, which is awesome. And here's the way I was just talking about. If you go to game rule, you have to be OP or have creative to do this, but you can change whether mobs will drop loot, all that cool stuff, whether mobs will spawn, tiles, items will drop. But if you do keep inventory and change that to true, you can keep your inventory when you die. Good for adventure maps. That's actually been in the game for a little bit, but I thought I would explain it a little better. So let's move on. This villager is over where we need to be. The hopper has a new recipe, and it also has a new sprite finally. It's not the work in progress block anymore, but now you use iron instead of stone to make the hopper. And the comparator has the same recipe, but it has a different texture. It has the little quartz there, and if I power it, I can show you in a minute, it will actually have a vein going through there. But that actually separates it a little bit more from the repeater, and also uses the actual quartz in the recipe to show it, so that's pretty cool. And I've set a few things up over here that are kind of cool. This is ore that's feeding in to this furnace, and then there's fuel over here that's actually emptied because the coal actually went into here, and it's cooking, and then as soon as this is done, it gets sucked up into this chest, and this has been going for a while. I'll show you this one. I got more in here, and I've got a ton of fuel in here, but the item hopper can only fill so many items. So if I was to take this out, it would quickly fill up with coal. Now, the problem with using this is if you use lava to cook your stuff, the bucket will sit in there, but as soon as I take that out, it will pop in coal and get going again. So you might want to use coal for doing this, but you can easily set up furnaces where you throw all your ore into one, fuel in another, and then it comes out at the bottom. You don't have to mess with it at all, which is pretty awesome. And another thing with the hoppers, this hopper is actually being powered by this lever right now. This is one of the easier ways to do it if you have a lever and you just, shift click to place it on there. So if a hopper is powered, it will not transfer the items through. It will keep them in its reserves. If you drop something in, like I could throw in my Slenderman egg there, and it'll pop in, and it'll just sit in there. So as soon as I unpower this, though, it will go into the box, and bam, there it is. And because the chests and anything that holds items has been changed, they output redstone, but it will, as long as one item is in here, it will output one signal. So you could actually set up a chest that lets you know when something's in there. And then here's this new texture. I said the redstone actually goes through the quartz a little bit. Looks pretty cool. So yeah, that's some of the changes to the comparator and the hopper. Now it's getting close to night. I should probably fly over here, and it's perfect timing because I'm going to talk about the last two new items here that I wanted to show you guys. Now I actually have this set up. This is a command block. Bam, step on that. It's daytime. Okay, so here are the last two new items now. This is I'll pick this so I can show you here. This is the TNT minecart. I'm going to use this crafting table. I've already got one laid down, and just make it like so. minecart with TNT, and this is what it looks like. Pretty simple looking, but be forewarned, this thing is powerful and it might get nerfed before it comes out. Now, to go along with the minecart with TNT, this recipe here is for the Activator Rail, and you just basically make it like a normal rail, except you don't put the stick in the middle. And when a TNT minecart goes over an Activator Rail, it will start to use its fuse and then it will blow up. But the TNT minecart actually has a lot more ways it can blow up, and I will show some clips here. If it flies off a track, it will explode immediately. The faster it goes, the more violently it explodes. So it can explode more than a normal TNT. Believe me, we'll get into that in a sec. If they collide on a track, they will explode. And you can set up the activators just by powering them. Once they're powered, any minecart that with the TNT that goes over them will explode. Jeb has been and Dinnerbone have been playing around with this, and they actually added spawners to minecarts, and the chests doing different things. Here's a silly picture of Notch's head sticking out of a chest. That's actually not in the game yet, but what may be a bug is this nuclear explosion that I'll show here. I'm going to cut to that. Number 3, here we go. Jesus! Look at that. That's crazy. And there's a ravine down here. Look at all these blocks that drop too. Awesome. I hope they do not fix this bug, because look at this. This is really cool. Jeez. Okay, so if you want to set up your own little nuclear blast thing, you need a ramp here with 5 of these booster rails, and then you can just power it with a switch at the top. And then this needs to be 13 normal rails. This is number 13. Then you put for 14 the detector rail there, and then the new activator rail as the 15th one. So this is going to be 15 long in total. And then you put 1 minecart at the first one and 1 on the 5th, and then you can use a switch at the top to activate them both. Let's see if we can get another nuclear blast. And doesn't look like it, but it doesn't happen all the time. As you can see, it took me like 3 times to get it, but it's pretty consistent. Like, it didn't take that many to get this crazy effect. So yeah, build one for yourself, guys. It's fun. Still cannot believe that it makes that big of a crater. It's something like a nuclear meltdown from like Tekkit or something. Anyways, one last change other than the bug fixes. The chests in abandoned mine shafts are now minecart with chest. So that makes more sense, but it might be a little trickier because they can get stuck in walls and and broken and stuff by water and everything. So it might be a little trickier to find those, but that is a change, and maybe it'll stay. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I plan on messing around, especially with the nuclear carts, a lot more before they probably inevitably fix it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.